And that's the one thing that I'm really not too sure of is like, why every time I go to sleep and if I'm watching a video and there's always something political that comes on right after it, and it's never anything good. It's never anything about fixing this or we put an end to that, but it's always something negative. Like last night I heard Bernie Sanders, and he was talking about I guess this was the old video. He was talking about Trump and Elon, like we must stop them, we must stand together and fight them, and why is it always a necessity to be combative? And it's just a thing that everybody has, you know and it's just persistent. But that's not even what I wanted to talk about. You wanted to talk about um, there was a comment left on my um, video yesterday pertaining to, will the program ever stop? Will people ever stop targeting or being targets? And you 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 have to be mindful that we're headed into the information age with AI, and everything is going to be more advanced as far as technology is concerned. And all this time, energy, and resources that's being dished out and distributed for certain um, advancements, they're going to utilize those in the near future. Even when Trump had the press conference and it was talking about Nvidia, and they was going to be set up in the areas in California where there was wildfires, with these where this extremely rich people were at, and they had these wildfires unsuspectingly just happened. They just happened out of the blue, but you know, we know destroy, rebuild, and if you're going to get rid of the old to bring forth the new, then you're not going to bring the same thing about. You're going to use more advanced um, building technology and state of the art everything. So first the the rich get impacted by certain things, and then everything get reconstructed. So we did see that, and Nvidia is kind of like the leading um or the leader in advanced AI and computer technology. Like I said, that's what all of the GPUs and stuff is ran off of. Nvidia and certain other ones, but Nvidia is kind of like the leading um, brand when it comes to AI. If you didn't know that, they're kind of like they're up there, as far as GPUs and general processing units and CPUs and stuff like that. So, do you think that the program will ever stop? Well, you have to be aware of certain things. This is what I told him. I told him, righteous. It stops when you take your power back, but will exist as long as there's a certain system in place. This is why I always um, felt the need to, respond when people say that, yay, the beast system is falling and this, that. It doesn't fall. It only evolves into something else. And then after that, it evolves into something else because the people that are invested in that system, they are never seen. You know, so in order for people to be brought to justice, they have to be brought in front of either on the world stage or just it, as long as they're behind the scene, they're not going to be brought into the court of law. You know, but in the spiritual court, they know that they don't stand a chance. But that's just that. So as long as that system is still in place, it will be an existing thing. Now, however, now that but you while you have um, certain aspects of it that are illegal, you are able to address those in a sense of making that known. Like, hey, y'all can't do that. That's illegal. You can't target somebody for um, false illegal actions when you talk about smear campaigns and slandering and things like that. You can target somebody because you don't like the way that they present themselves, or they may be odd, or they may not be a conformist, but nothing's more worse than being lawless to your own laws. So that's one way that you can get yourself from out of, or personally getting yourself out of there. Like, son, they can't do how is the wicked going to cast judgment or pass judgment on me? So you, that's one thing that you can be aware of when it comes to that program. So I told him about the declaration, about the video that I posted, and let me see if I can find it anywhere. Uh, the end of gang stalking for me, and the Declaration of Freedom from Gang Stalking. These particular videos, they'll give you um, an understanding of why you can't be targeted. You can't be spied on, because that in itself interferes with your pursuit of happiness. Just knowing that there's people around me, how I'm going to carry on and be a productive citizen in in society, and there's people spying on me, and that's going to interfere with that, and the the pursuit of happiness is one of your God-given unalienable rights. So that's one of the reasons why you will want to make a declaration of, not, not being wanting to be in there. But then I told them that there's there's also people that give them access to being targeted, to being gang stalked. And that brought me back to my father. My father was, they was targeted because, they dealt with um, heroin. And as a child, I was aware of that. Like him, all my uncles, my father, my uncles, and all my father's friends, they were all passing away. And when I'm just reflecting on it, just thinking about it, like, yo, that was a real dark time when HIV had hit, when AIDS had hit. It was real dark because I was seeing people, or that was all around me, um, you know, passing away left and right, you know. And it was, you gotta understand, I'm a child at the time. I'm maybe like 6 or 7, and you was, because it came out probably around about 80, I want to say around about 85, '96 or something around then. But it was just an ongoing thing when it came, and everybody that was around my family, they was just passing away, you know. And you seen that, you bear witness that, and you have to understand that that was a part of um, being targeted, and the only thing that would have safeguarded them from that is if they did not partake in those activities. You know, when you dabble in the vices of the wicked, then you'll be subject to the effects of it. And at the time, that was the effects of it. You know what I'm saying? So um, I was just telling them that you can't you can't allow yourself to, while being watched and monitored, you can't be the illegal person, and nor can he wanted to get more information. Well, the other person wanted to get more information, and you can't get information from any and everybody, because they do have those that tell you to, fight. We're gonna fight these people. All these such and such and such. You don't want to get your information from them, because that's the information that they want you to feed off of. That's the field that they need in order to give them legal grounds, because now you're ready, willing, and able to take a stand against them. And like I said, they got the resources, they got the power, and they got all the people. So when you do um, seek to, fight them the way that they fight you, they can attack you the way that they know how to attack. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to me, you got to beat me at being righteous. You got to beat me at making peace. This is the way that you can beat me. But as far as me stepping into your arena, no, you're gonna trip your own self up. I don't have to wish any bad on you. I don't have to curse you. I don't have to do anything, because you put yourself on that path coming for somebody that's not supposed to be came for like that. Some people is on good time. Regardless of what they do, they're still on good time, and you put yourself on bad time by opposing those people. This is what I know. So that's the reason why you 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 have to allow people to know certain things, especially when people believe that they're gang stalked. Like I said, everybody's going to be gang stalked, and if you don't, that's the reason why some people fall in line, because they know, what type of thing is set up, and if you're not in line, then you will feel um persecuted. Again, gang stalking is a persecutory belief, is a persecutory belief. It's a belief that you're being persecuted. You know, so I just wanted to point that out, because they asked me, did I think it will ever stop, and then I ran across a couple of topics on on Quora, and they was giving people um, sometimes people are being informative and and helpful, and then some people are being informative and hurtful. Like I said, the ones that make you paranoid, these are the ones that's being informative and being hurtful. And then you have the ones that um are being informative and helping you to safeguard yourself from further attacks, or further paranoia. So there's a difference in the way that you are to receive certain information, and who you're receiving information from. Because I'm never going to be the one that's going to tell you to get buck, get wild. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm going to tell you to be vigilant, be observant, and stay a few steps ahead, so you'll be able to safeguard yourself from falling into any traps, you know. And going back to my father and them, they fell into the traps of heroin, and the sharing of drug needles and partying and stuff like that. So they wasn't able to, sidestep that and protect themselves from those particular attacks. And like I said, I look back at that and I seen like, yo, they was targeted. So we don't understand targeting. And when we do hear it, it's from a people that don't seem as though they have any um, motion with them as far as why would you want to be targeted? Why are they targeting you? What are you doing? You're a nice, you know, quiet, you know, and they're targeting you. Yeah, okay. You're part of this, big, well-known, established group in this religion, or you're part of this, but you're singled out and gang stalked. Why they don't help you? So some of us are logical thinkers, and we are able to, you know, piece things together and say, son, that's not what it is. And it's not what you want to call leading on your own understanding. That's with knowledge and wisdom, with all of that, get understanding so that you'll be able to draw and make and deal with comparing and contrast and stuff like that. So yeah, I wanted to share a couple of things that I ran across just recently. One of them was I had got a new antenna for this particular TV that I have right here. And this TV comes from Australia. So it has a different broadcast system. And with that broadcast system, it has a different antenna input. So when you purchase the antenna and you try to hook it up to the TV, and you're not able to pick up any channels, that only makes you, you know, find out workarounds. So I found out a workaround on how to get into the core of the TV. And when I did, I found out that, a lot of things in there that you tweak and you tamper with is is kind of, you know, it's there's a lot of stuff going on in there, like as far as the cameras and stuff. They got cameras, watchdog, like they can watch you through the TV. You know, that's my understanding of watchdog. You do have watchdogs here. You know, you do have watchdogs. So, like I said, it was a game that I was playing at one point in time, and I was always interested, and it's all about hacking. It's all about hacking. There's Watch Dogs 2, and then there's Watch Dogs Legion. And these are like some of my favorite games. And these are people, like I said, they wear masks and they go around recruiting others to join them. It's like maybe like a rogue group that's um, against another group. So they're recruiting other people to disrupt that group. So like I was saying the other day, like the CIA can give cells and they can get inside of a government or a foreign government, and then they'll create one um, cell, and that cell will start spreading. So that's one thing that the Watchdogs is like, Watchdogs Legion. So even like I say, even games, and I wanted to talk about, how to get into the meta. Why would you want to get into the meta? It's because, like I said, that's a safe place, and I'm gonna show you in a minute how I interact with the metaverse and everything that you can do in there, especially if you're not aware of it. So the whole objective is not to be stuck in a reality where you're feeling weighed down, or you feel that there's everything is against you. You create your own space, and inside of that space you're able to do any and everything that you want to do. And when people try to intrude in there, you're able to, either block them out or be more in control of the narrative as opposed to them being in control of the narrative. So that's the reason why it would be important, or not even important. It would be, suggestive. I would suggest that a lot of people get into there so they can control the narrative. You would see a gang stalker in there before you see one out in the street. You would come face to face with one in there. And when you come face to face with them in there, you would see how powerless they are. Like, you would see it. But um, yeah, Watchdogs is something that if you haven't played this game, especially if you're into gaming, this is something you should take interest in playing. So you you understand that's Watchdogs. So I had downloaded this video. I had made this video right here. So I'm gonna try to let it play because when getting into that screen, you you can see I can see it on the TV, but it's not allowing me to record what's being seen. So it's something secretive about that service menu. So I'm gonna let this play real quick. So your service menu. So that's how you treat a lot of your features that aren't normally accessible to you. Just like the things hidden inside of the TV. So you will want to, if you have a Samsung TV, you will want to press, depending on the TV you got info. You press the info button, info, menu, mute, and then power. And that menu should come up. So now that the menu is up, you're able to see now the options. So you want to press the option. You want to press option. Yes. You want to press factory. You're going to go to control. So I'm not sure if y'all can hear that because I was recording that on my iPad because they wouldn't allow me to record it on the screen. You can't access that menu from the screen, but it's Watchdogs inside of smart TVs and smart stuff, anything that has something to do with smart. Again, they're dealing with a central intelligence. So you're not going to be able to sell product that the people that want all the information isn't going to have access to, whether that's a phone, whether that's a computer, whether that's a smartwatch. If it has any kind of information that's in being input or output, they want that information. So we're living in a day and age where information is everything. Maybe it always been information have always been everything, and it has, because we'll talk about that some other time. But it has always been everything. It's even more valuable than money. Information. Like I said, that's what humans is. We're information ourselves. We're information. So with that, we wanted to point out what Cuz has stated on here, with the U.S. Patriot Act. And not only that, but I'm going to show you this game before I get off of here. Because I believe I wanted to show you it on my Steam Deck. And it died at the same time. Whether it was on my Switch. Was it on my Switch? I'm not sure whether it was on my Switch or my Steam Deck. It was probably on my Switch, then I put it on the Steam Deck, and my Switch had broke. And this is how good God is. My internet was down at one point in time, and when it was down, I was like, man, I'm not, because I kind of got into it with Optimum. Optimum was supposed to have gave me um what's that thing called? A perk. I'm not sure whether it's a perk or what. Not a perk. A promotion. They had a promotion that when I signed up for them, they were supposed to have gave me a gift card, but they never gave it to me. And being that I was expecting that gift card to come, it was what I was going to use to pay one of my bills. So ever since they wasn't sending me that bill, I already when you spend money before you get it, it's kind of like, so you just threw me off. So um I just was like, man, I ain't even messing with y'all no more. So they was trying to weasel me back in. I was like, nah, bro, because y'all told me I was gonna send me a gift card, and y'all never sent it. And they even cleared my bill. They was like, nah, we no, please don't leave. And I was like, nah, dog. And it's not that you was being mean to them. It's just they never um gave me because I waited patiently. I waited more than 3 months. And on the third month is when I was like, okay, it should come this month. So all right, I'm gonna get this with that. So in the interim of that, they came out with a promotion with Verizon, and I was thinking about, no, maybe I should. And my Switch had broke, and I thought to myself like, man, I don't want to get another Switch, because I got a Steam Deck with Switch on it. I got my computer with Switch on it, but you still don't want to be um at a loss with your device. Like these devices, you can use them for any and everything. So Verizon had came out with a promotion with the Switch, and not only that, they gave me a better deal and a better grade of internet than Optimum did. Like I'm paying less for that for Verizon than I was paying for Optimum at a lower um speed. Like I maybe had either 500 megabytes, and that 500 megabytes was at least around about 60 or 70 something dollars. And here with Verizon, I'm getting um one gig one gig speed, and I'm getting it at $40. And not only that, they gave me a free Switch. They gave me the Switch came in one day, and a $200 gift card. So that was dope. You know, like I said, I didn't throw a temper tantrum. I didn't get all upset and say, you know what, I'm gonna take y'all to court because y'all promised me this. Nah. I simply got better, you know, and that was, you know, the mercy of you know, just being patient and seeing that, oh, you know, there's always better for you. So yeah. Now let's talk about what this is saying. Because I've been trying to get this candy open for a minute, man, and I don't know why it's so you know, hard to get open. But the U.S. Patriot Act goes with FISA, which goes with the FBI TSDB watch list, known investigative subject to target innocent people with Stacey tactics with mobbing, and 1/3 of mass shootings is linked to mobbing, and they can say they were right. And you know, that's the thing. A lot of these the mass shootings and stuff like that be, you know, staged events. You know, and they know that. They know that these things be staged events. Like I said, they're, you know, people are easily misled and deceived by what they perceive to be true. You know, even when I showed you those Jordans with the double jump man, people believed that they was fake. Then they had a video on Facebook. Let me see if I can bring it up. They had a video on Facebook, and let me see if I could bring it up. Yeah, here. They this is an NBA young boy. But they know they're purposely going in there to deceive them, and they believe that. Y'all gotta hit the line. They believe that NBA young boy because it looked like NBA young boy, but that's not. Even if it was, why are we so? Why do we have so much ah for I mean so much passion and love for people just because they talk a lot of I mean just all rappers do is just talk a lot of junk. You know what I mean? That's all they do is talk. Why do we love these people so much? You know, and that's why I said, you know, sometimes you got to get from up out of a certain reality and create your own reality because you know that's the thing. They're more um liked and loved more than their teachers. You know what I mean? More than teachers. more than people that do good, they love people that don't do anything for them but talk. I mean, just ba 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 with music behind them. That's all. I mean, you're not talking. You're not saying. I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm being real. Because we seen Fetty Wap come home and get embraced and everything, like the world stopping. Yo, what are you doing? Such and such. And okay. We seen Max B come home and everybody, yo, Max B home and everything. The world seemed like it's just revolving around them. But then you did have a rapper that got baptized and people just started throwing stones at him. You think this is a good, you think the world is changing. People think the world, it doesn't change until the people change. And it ain't just a group that changed. The world has to change collectively. Until the wolf lays down with the lamb, you will not see a new earth. This is the requirement. When the people that normally feed off of people can lay down with the people and not look at them as prey, then that's when you're seeing change. You can't see change because this person is going over there and attacking that person and overthrowing that person. They're all the same people. They're all the same thing. And you can't say, "Oh, it's a peace walk over here," but it's uh, uh, people that's being pulled over and shot in the car over here. We can't possibly believe that things is changing. That's the thing. We can't believe that things is changing because we can speak it into existence, but we have to be sincere about it. We can't say that, yeah, it's changed, yo, if things are gonna change because there's a lot more people that's coming out saying this, but these aren't genuine people. These are people that make content and get paid off of that content. You know, like you would want people to want you to speak about certain things, like maybe Hassan Campbell and people like that. That every time something come out, you gotta they would want you to do that, and you're not one of them. You literally felt what happened to Trayvon Martin. You literally felt that. You literally felt um, when kids got shot in the school when supposedly, and like I said, God pulled me up and was like, son, nah, dog, no, what I mean? They're playing on you. They're playing with you. And it was God that showed me. It wasn't man that was like, yo, they fool. They was playing. It was God that was like, son, these people playing. They're playing like that. I mean, they play like that, and that's what they do. So you're not one that's going to jump to the gun every time something happens, and you're going to investigate it and look at the facts and do a lot of fact finding before you speak on something. You speak falsely because you can be easily misled. Just by seeing certain things, just by you acknowledging you know mass shootings and stuff. Matter of fact, let me see if I could even bring up uh this while we at it, because I put a new hard drive on here and dumped all of these photos in here. Let's see what we can do. Uh, let's see.
Burns or bruises. When an actor is shot, under his shirt is a small explosive device. These squibs contain fake blood packs that burst open upon detonation, creating a realistic gunshot effect. However, the explosion can also cause minor injuries, such as burns or bruises. When an actor is shot,
When an actor is shot, you know, so don't whatever. Mass shooting is linked to mobbing. They are, because that's what they need these actors to be seen acting like that, so it'll solidify the program. Because like I said, there's a lot of money being invested into the program. A lot of jobs is on the line with the program, and a lot of people that that benefit from that. So you if for that to stop, that means that they're going to be people that's out of jobs. You know what I mean? If they're out of jobs, they're going to be out of homes. If they're out of homes, they're going to be homeless. So they have to do what they have to do to maintain their, I mean, their living arrangements. What they have to do, they have to do it. So, is the program going to leave? I do. I mean, but as far as you gang stalking me, or know that that's a violation. You know what I mean? Not just against me, but it's a divine violation. That's a violation against God. These are God-given rights. So this is what you have to specify to certain people and allow them to know that. And once you know that, you're like, son, people ain't got no power over me. What y'all looking at? Oh, because I'm not one of y'all. Go ahead, look. That's the same thing with the paparazzi. That's the same thing with the press. They look at you when you're in the spotlight. They watch you when you're somebody that's um worth being watched. That's all. So this is the approach that you gotta come at it. So you don't when people come at me and they're coming from a hurt standpoint. I don't understand. I don't understand because if they're hurting you, then it's something that you're doing that's hurting yourself. You know, if they're hurting you, it's something that you're doing that's hurting yourself. If it's a mental thing, then you know maybe that's what they use to twist you and bend your arm back. Oh, this person is schizophrenic. Let's keep now you're constantly hearing voices, more voices than the voices that you normally hear. And again, when we're talking about Moses and things like that, you heard the voice of God. So this is nothing that's uncommon. People can hear voices. It's the voice of reason or the voice of insanity. You know, but players are the CIA, FBI, NASA, or I call them NASA. They probably is the same group. NSA, the Shrevers AFB, not sure who that is. Peterson AFB, Northcom, JTTF, DHS, DOJ. We just spoke about that. We all know this. Fusion Centers, InfraGard, Citizen Corps, Police, first responders, and their partnerships in crime. And they use RISS, ATIX, HSIN, eGuardian, and FirstNet to communicate with fusion centers, and they smear campaign you as a known or suspected terrorist or extremist or whatever else. 24/7 monitoring you and sabotage, waiting for you to make a mistake. There we have, once they once you come into agreement with anything illegal, that's when you know they can come in and attack. Now, illegal is illegal. You know what I mean? Illegal firearms, illegal drug dealing, illegal anything illegal like that. Now, as far as what you do behind closed doors, as long as it ain't illegal, you know what I mean? As long as that ain't illegal. But other than, you know what I mean, if you pick up your nose, they ain't got no. That's not nothing wrong. You know what I mean, if you, you know what I mean, it doesn't matter, bruh. You know what I mean? So the street theater, gaslighting, mobbing, NLP, sensitization, anchoring and triggers, noise campaigns, sleep deprivation, electronic harassment, disinformation campaigns, discrediting, burglary, and entrapment. You know, but that's that's from 2 years ago anyway. But like I stated, when I was made aware, it was through a dream. you know, it was a dream that I had that I was in a prison, and I was in a prison like a jail cell. I can see it vividly right now. Like we was in a jail cell with a bunch of people, and they one person they was had um newspapers. They was watching TV. They all had on jumpsuits, and they was just quiet. And they seemed like either they was crazy or they was homeless, but rounded up and put inside of a jail cell, and they was like living their best life in there. But no one was interacting with nobody else. It's like they was um that dis disassociated with the world that nobody in there was anybody to them. So I'm asking them like, "Yo, what I'm doing in here?" They kept ignoring me. "Yo, bro, what is this, bro? What's going on in here?" And then the police had walked by my cell, and I kept trying to call them like, "Yo, what I'm doing in here? Yo, what am I doing in here?" You know, and one actually stepped to me, and he was like, "Oh, your mother wanted you in here," you know. So this was prior to me even knowing anything about the program. So it was revealed to you in a dream. And this is the same way I got God. Before I knew a religion, I knew God. And then you start hearing religions about it. And then now you start to, pick up on, how people interact with God. Like, hold on, you know. So that's the same thing with the gang stalking program. You know it beforehand, as opposed to you reading about it and then thinking that you're in it. you know so you seen that there was something going on, and you was you was forewarned about it. But that's just the thing. And back to what I wanted to say was, I had this game that I wanted to show y'all with, um that was on my Switch, and then I put it on my Steam Deck, and now I got it on my computer, and I can show it to you on here. It's when it comes to cloning your phone, because when I looked at where all my phone locations, they said that I had an active um phone. Like, my phone is actively being used right now in Virginia. And then I do have other people that use, like, when I go to log into certain websites, their name come up that I don't know. I don't know them. You know what I mean? One of them was El Maladron. El Maladron. And El Maladron, that means crook. That means the crook in Spanish. Then one is the real walk down SK, like the real walk down, like they're gonna walk down on you. That's when a person walk down on you, and you know, but worrying about nobody. So that's the person that when I try to log into my Instagram, he's logged in there. I mean, the real walk down. People is weird, bruh. Mm, people is real weird. But so so here you have a person that was giving them information. I mean, what is the best way? What is the best solution that to this so-called gang stalking? I just go on about my life ignoring them, and no one's touching me. To be honest, that is the best way to overcome this horrific crime. Again, now this comes from September 5th. That is the best way to go about this horrific crime. Play the game back at them. You must be sure to know who is part of it, and when you've been at this for a while, you can pick them out. Wait for an obvious stalker, because the more you ignore them, the more loud they then stalk. Follow them, but without getting carried away. I like to indicate left, then right, then left again, so they realize you're not afraid and you play this right back at them. But control yourself. If you do anything and they let's say ask, "What are you doing, mate?" Just say, "Sorry, mate. My hand slipped the wheel. I didn't mean anything by it. Was an accident." Don't show your cards. They get angry, but do get do get bored of you not being afraid. I can't tell you of any. I can't tell you of a way for stalking to be erased, but you can manipulate the severity. You know, everybody's going to have a form of what they do to combat or cope with gang stalking. But like I said, man, once you know that you can't be touched and these people are still trying to touch you, then you know they're skating on thin ice themselves. So it's not really that you have to do, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to show one um, one instance, and sometimes they disappear from this is they do have a lot of people that know a lot about it, but do you have to question the validity? Like I said, sometimes it's just to keep it afloat because it is a money source for people. It's a source or a money. I want to say a money scheme because there ain't really no terrorists. There's really no the terrorists are created. I mean, they create the people that's attacking the targeted terrorists make the terrorists. The same way the people that make the drugs make the drug addicts. You know, but if they didn't make heroin and put it out on the streets, then the people that was hooked on heroin and succumbed to heroin wouldn't have ever been on heroin. So they make the drugs and make the drug addicts. So they make the terrorists and then they target the terrorists. So that's how that goes. Mm. It's pretty good. It's Australian licorice, plant based. This is plant based. Yeah, it's pretty good. But these are all my Switch games that I got on here. And this is called Replica. And this is your phone being replicated and you are familiar with people cloning your phones. So I wanted to share that because I wanted I meant to share it before, but my phone died. And one thing that I do normally when I get a video game, the first thing I do is go to the settings and turn off the music. I don't like no music at all playing unless I wanted to play. Unless I feel like I'm in the mood to playing music. I don't want music around me at all. It's just something I do. So let me see. So this particular phone is not your phone, so you have to replicate and get information about the person whose phone it is, you know. So you don't got no notifications right now. You're gonna try to open up, but it's locked. So you're gonna try to use a code to get in there. That's not it. You should get a text message, and that text message is from one of your friends, and your friend be like, "Yo, ain't you ready for your? It's almost your phone. It's almost your birthday tomorrow." You know what I mean? And then you gotta look at the date, and the date says um 11:04 right now. So if they said it's almost your birthday, you put in 11:05, and that's the passcode. You know, so you're trying to get the passcode for the phone. So now you have that, and then you should have got a message right now from Department of Homeland Security, and they was going to tell you to download an app, and the app is an app that's not that looks like a regular app. It's like the to-do list. Um, you know, it's like a to-do list. Let me see if it's in the store. This right here, you know. So on the to-do list is when you get all of your tasks to do, because it's on a app that's not supposed to look like every other app, you know. So I'm not. Maybe they know that I'm recording them right now, so they not, because they normally start up, because this ain't it haven't been completed. I haven't even got the message from Marge, and that's when you find out that this is Marge Sherwood down here. That's when you find out that they're targeting you, and you'll go into the photos and you'll see a picture. You know, you see pictures of them online. You see a picture of Che Guevara. You know, and to make it seem like just because they liked the person, he stood for something that, I mean, those particular people are terrorists, and Che Guevara wasn't even a terrorist. He was actually a doctor, and um, he was just into guerrilla warfare because he believed that he was fighting for a just cause. So he wasn't a terrorist. Like, I read books about him, like the Bolivia Diary, Che in the Congo. I read a few of his books, and You got a tattoo of Che, and even Mike Tyson got a tattoo of Che Guevara. So that don't really, indicate that a person is a terrorist. But this is him inside the picture of the person's phone, like in the pictures. You know what I mean? So yeah. Let me see. Maybe I might have to reset it. Let's go into settings. I wouldn't play this game right here, but it was just something that I said replica. What is replica? And then it's about the Department of Homeland Security. 11 missed calls, 9 messages. There goes the incoming message, the incoming call. Hey, it's almost your birthday. Where in the world are you? Dad's going out of his mind. So now, being that it's almost my birthday, and you've seen that the date was 11:04, you'll you'll go and you log that in 11:05. Boom. So now you got into the phone, and then you'll have an incoming call coming. Right here is the incoming call. I assume you cracked the password since you were able to answer the phone. Good job. I knew from the start you was talented for this kind of work. You should be proud to assist in this important case concerning national security. If you successful, prove that you and your parents are ordinary citizens and pose no threat to the state. Would you like to get your clothes and your phone back and see your parents again? Your job is simple. Collect evidence to prosecute the terrorists locked in the cell next to you. Can you at least give me a hint who this phone belongs to? He's a cocky 17-year-old who interferes with Homeland Security. He insisted we were infringed on his right to privacy by asking for his phone's password. His lack of compliance, refusing to answer the simplest of questions, is highly suspicious. And tracking his bus car RFID cell phone GPS has shown that frequents he frequents locations around the city connected with terrorist activities, not the usual high school student hangout spots. Unfortunately, I can tell you more details about the terrorists since you lack security clearance. I should look for anything then I should look for anything related. Let me see. The terrorists call you back. For security reasons, you must not make or answer incoming calls. Let me see. Because cars just keep going on and on and on. Nobody read that fast, car. You must not make or answer incoming calls apart from mine. You must leave no call records in the phone call history. You have been warned. One last thing, open the store app and download to do It looks like a normal time management app, but it's much more developed by Homeland Security. It has two main functions. First, it will keep a list with I forgot what that said because they double words. Accomplished for the you select with the will be automatically sent to us for processing. If you see any suspicious images or text related with your objective, just select it. We will confirm if the information is relevant or irrelevant to the investigation. Remember, you are now a guardian of liberty for our democratic company. And that goes into um, if you see any suspicious images or text related with your objective, just circle it. That was when I was I noticed that a lot of people was liking some of my status, but it felt it felt like they was marking it to be seen by somebody, you know. So here's here's this. I just wanted to show y'all this because this is like, yo, it's a game with that is going in there. How they get into it. Now, you know, when we talked about flying monkeys, they was talking about they're exploiting people or they have something over people. So, you know, that's that's that, you know. But this person has access to a targeted individual's phone and he can see everything that the targeted individual um all the messages and all that stuff. So, you know, app is restricted by Homeland Security, but you can go to the messages. You know, uh, you know. Here we go. I just want to read this right here. Marge, can you believe we've been together a whole year? I love you. Time flies. And Dickie, I love you too. Forever. Hey, did you find any information for our assignment or am I just an idiot? You mean Mr. Freeman's history assignment on anti communism? Yeah, I can't find anything in our textbook on McCarthyism or the Bobo League massacre. So this is a class thing that is getting them targeted by them having an interest in anti-communism. You know what I mean? So me either. And there wasn't anything on the government's recent shift to neo-fascism or the riots. In fact, I don't even know what neo-fascism is. So these are people that don't even know anything about, you know what I mean, these things. It's just in a particular class and they have an interest in it. And because everything is being ran by AI, picking up on certain things, typing in keywords, and flagging people, they started to target them. That's because the terms the teacher used weren't in our government approved textbooks. Maybe he wanted us to dig deeper. We have search app. Let's get searching. See? Mars, you hear me? You here? Oh, I see you. Yeah, I see you too. Who are those people getting out of the black van behind you? Marge. Marge. They're behind. Who are them? Marge. They're behind you as well. Run! They got targeted because of them searching for certain things. You know. So that's how a lot of people might end up on the targeted program. And that's why you would have to declare things publicly because if not, they would um they would feed off of that narrative that oh he's a target. If they was into looking for targeted things, they was looking for this or they was searching for that, so they are that, you know. And these, like I said, this isn't, you know, this is something that's beyond human comprehension, and that's not even human. That's even labeling people targets just by certain things or certain keywords and phrases and stuff. So this is the conversation right here. You see it for yourself. These people wasn't targets, but he got contacted and said that he's going to look for more stuff from him to say that he's actually a target. Maybe I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Cause I never played it. Only thing I did was seen it and say, yo, this is that. This is how, you know, this is that. So yeah, that's weird though that you can see this for yourself, like right here. You know what I mean? So it has to be somebody that knows certain things about certain things and how people become into certain things. And they don't really tell you that. They just say you're being targeted and gang stalked. But it could be just something that you know what I mean, um Googled or you had to study or you took an interest in. So by you declaring that, son, do not come for me. Nah, I am not that, and you don't have that legal right. You know what I mean, but when you do are into that type of stuff, then they do have, you know what I mean, a legal right based off of their suspicion. You know what I mean? So you have to declare like, nah, dog, I ain't that. No, I am not that. So that's what, so we don't allow things to prolong and progress into other things that is not, because like I said, they do have people that want you to be mean and nasty and get all upset and disgruntled and start throwing things and saying, I'm buying me a gun and I'm going out, you know, they would like for you to do that because these are people that love that. If you don't know that, then like I said, every time I doze off and I got YouTube on, something about Trump and war is on. If it's not about Trump or war, it's about somebody else and they talking about some war. Like I said, these are soulless people. They don't, I mean, they're never talking about, you know, fixing a problem or, love this or love that. And one thing I heard Trump say was that um, somebody in Venezuela had got the Nobel Peace Prize and it should have been him. Trump, you should have got no peace prize. You should have got the peace prize if you didn't push all those people that was foreigners in your land out of out of your land. Well, this is nobody's land, but if you didn't push those people that was foreigners from outside and gave them refuge and shelter them, you would have been able to get the peace prize. You know what I mean? But you ain't worthy, and you don't taking people's jobs and shutting assistants down and um, stuff like that. You don't get no peace prize for that. Oh, you don't get no peace prize. You get a Emmy award for being a good actor or a Golden Globe, whatever it is, an Oscar, but you don't get no peace prize. You don't get no Nobel Peace Prize for waging war. You don't get that for that.